Hey, and welcome back to Game Talk. I'm your host, Sam, and beyond. Today I'm joined by Connor.
Hey, guys.
And Mike.
Hello.
And today I kind of wanted to talk about something we've skirted around and we've briefly addressed in several episodes. NFTs. And particularly how they relate to video games. Now, I think at this point, what is it, late July 2022, I think largely the internet has denounced NFTs, and rightfully so. They just, they're a tool for grifters and people looking to make a quick buck out of things that aren't really worth anything. But there are a few big gaming companies that are still kind of all in on NFTs. A couple that come to mind are Square Enix and Ubisoft. So I kind of wanted to just bring up the discussion of NFTs as they relate to gaming.
I mean, also GameStop, if we want to call it a gaming company. GameStop just released their beta NFT marketplace. Which is GameStop's
an interesting beast in all of this too, because I feel like they're just treading water, right? Like they're just trying to find something.
Oh yeah, this is literally their death rally.
They're trying to find something to survive, right? And I don't think it's gonna work for them, unfortunately.
No, people that think it is are delusional. If the people that are excited about this are extremely excited about it, but they're also completely delusional.
With GameStop in particular, I feel like the weird meme phenomenon that happened around it, where it's stock went to the moon briefly, really kind of gave that company a shot in the arm for maybe the investors thought okay, maybe GameStop has a chance, but it's just a matter of time. I think so. I think the last time I went inside of a GameStop, it's actually kind of interesting. They're nothing they're selling all sorts of collectibles and stuff, things that aren't even really
Funko Pops.
Yeah, video games.
I mean, they still have video games, at least here.
Oh yeah, they still have video games.
I think I went to GameStop to buy Metroid Dread.
And their whole thing obviously is still used games, and that's what GameStop's bread and butter is. But
yeah, and I'm pretty anti-used game myself, but that's kind of neither here nor there.
Yeah. So GameStop, I didn't realize they were trying to get into NFTs. So what are they doing exactly?
It's just that they designed an NFT wallet, and it feels weird to say this, but to their credit, their wallet does seem to be the least scammy of all of the public wallets you can use. So I don't want to get too much into the technology, but my understanding is you can host your own wallet, but that requires a lot of technical know-how, or you can use a wallet through another company, which is what GameStop is offering.
I guess what I'm curious is what are their NFTs? Are they just video game character art
it's not
or something?
Video game relevant at all. It's just art. From what I've seen.
Okay, so it's not even game related.
It's the same thing that Radio Shack is doing.
Yeah, it's the normal mediocre art that only sells because it's an NFT and because people don't understand that is meaningless.
It's those really ugly apes.
Yeah, that's another weird. They're just trying everything, and it's weird that you'd think that if there was some magical silver bullet that could save GameStop, it would be video game related, right? But they're seemingly trying all these unrelated things. I don't know. It's just bizarre.
Yeah, the thing about NFTs and companies trying to exploit them, it'd be different if they were original with it. But what Ubisoft is just giving out a hat. I mean,
so let's think about Ubisoft for a sec. So I think Ubisoft's sort of angle in all of this is to create is to tie NFTs into microtransactions, right? That's their whole sort of
and so
vision.
The pitch with an NFT is extremely misguided, but the idea is that you can be playing Watch Dogs Legion, for instance, and you can buy a gun that looks cool and that you really like. And that same gun, you can take it over to Rainbow Six Siege, for instance, and you have that same gun that you bought because you own that.
That NFT. Makes no sense. Unless, the developers plan multiple games with that sort of functionality in mind.
Yeah, because these ideas are not pitched by developers. They're pitched by people that don't understand the industry very well at all. Yeah. Because that gun, you can't literally if two games are made in Unity, you could just take an asset and drop it at another game, but it wouldn't be balanced. It wouldn't match aesthetically. It wouldn't necessarily even function properly in any way. And that's not even thinking about games that, by and large, mini games are not made in big commercial engines. They're made in studio-specific engines. And in that case, it's just not going to work at all. It doesn't make any sense. Like,
I guess unless all of that studio's games, are made with that functionality in mind. But, I don't think anyone's going to do that.
No.
Yeah, I think it's large people with NFTs and games and how you could transfer it between games. It's largely a misunderstanding of how assets in games work.
Yeah, and just off the bat, the more compatible my game has to be with your game, the worse both of our games are going to be because we have those restrictions. And games are already pretty buggy these days at launch a lot of the time. Do we really want to add technical complexity that does nothing to make the game more fun? I really don't think so.
It's like the notion of hey, if you keep playing this game, you could earn things that you could trade for real money. Why do I want another job?
That already sort of exists.
Yeah,
right?
Play to earn games. Yeah.
That already sort of exists. And obviously we've mentioned the Counter-Strike. Yeah, Counter-Strike.
Yeah, Counter-Strike. Yeah. Yeah, so that's an example. NFTs, the idea of crypto in general and the blockchain and everything is to decentralize things, which in some way kind of makes sense. The problem is none of it is actually doing that. These NFTs that you buy are still they're just a link to something on a server. So it's still centralized at the end of the day. And they don't do anything that a server can't do, but they do cost exponentially more CPU power.
The other idea of the value, in quotes, right, is to just prove that this digital asset belongs to you, which, I'm sorry, but who cares?
Who cares, first of all? Second, I have owned many digital goods, I guess, over the years, right?
Steam games.
Yeah, Steam games. And that's a perfect example. I have been scammed significantly less than many of these NFT bros have. There have been some very big ticket NFTs that have been stolen through hacking and things like that. And that's just my Steam library is not going anywhere. It's protected, it's safe on a server. I guess.
And guess what?
Valve
it is
out of business, it's gone. But
I was gonna say, and that's centralized, right? Valve takes care of it. But I guess in a hypothetical future where someone malicious takes control of Valve, everyone loses their Steam games. But that's just not going to happen, right? There's backups of backups of backups of backups.
I will say so Steam being centralized, this is one argument in favor of an NFT. If I owned an NFT of my copy of Enter the Gungeon, for instance, I could, without Valve knowing, all they know is that NFT links to ownership of the game. I could sell that NFT to someone else, and now they own the game. And suddenly, used game sales work digitally. Right. I don't see that as a pro, though. That doesn't really help anyone meaningfully.
Thinking about the larger companies and their stances, right? I do almost feel we've got to imagine the executives at every big company, we're talking Sony, Micro, everyone was frothing at the mouth when this NFT stuff started. And then when they were obviously keeping an eye on things, and when big companies like Ubisoft and Square Enix tried to make moves and were instantly set on fire, they were okay, maybe we should pause. But you've got to think everyone was thinking about it at least for a little bit.
Yeah, it's largely based on cooler heads prevailing because Ubisoft and Square Enix were right on the gun, and Ubisoft was also super confrontational with just about everyone who criticized them for making NFTs.
It's a good pitch, I guess, to people that have a lot of money to spend, but I feel gaming has already done a lot to drain people's pockets and stuff. And I feel it's got to be the vast majority of gamers do not have money to play your stupid fictional stock market, and it's just, you're just making the experience worse for them by including things like that.
Yeah, and I do think as far as the tendency to collect things go, where I do think NFTs are maybe trying to prey upon that tendency. But as far as that tendency goes for gamers, at least, it's almost entirely physical, right? Obviously I own physical games, I own digital games, but if I want to own like a Kratos action figure or something, I'm not gonna get a digital one. I'm
Well,
gonna
even
go
more-
out and buy that thing, you know, like
I have bought games that I'm not going to play physically, like NES cartridges and stuff. I have bought games that I don't like. I own a copy of Castlevania 2. That's a terrible game. I'm not going to play that game. But I wanted to own it as a collectible. I would not have bought Castlevania 2 on Steam. That is insane to me. I don't need an icon on my desktop. That's not a collectible.
yeah, I don't know, like, this whole notion of digital collectible, it just doesn't make sense to me. And, like, sometimes I think that maybe something like this will make sense to, like, a younger generation, right? But to me, this just is ludicrous, right?
I could see
if I want to collect
generation
something,
that has
I want it to be
grown up-
something I can touch. Yeah.
Like a generation that has grown up having a virtual reality space that is their own or something. Maybe this makes sense a little bit, but the technology behind an NFT is still not valuable in that instance. Because if you have a VR space, that it literally has to be centralized. There's no way to decentralize that. Like, in order for other people to come visit your VR space, there has to be some
you have to have
greater,
some
unless
way
you're
of
like,
getting in there.
unless you're going to have kids entering IP addresses to get to each other's VR space, and you're not, you know? Minecraft got away with that, but I don't see a greater world where that happens.
Yeah, and I do think, like, I don't want to call it the failure of NFTs yet, because I don't think we're entirely out of the woods yet, but we're mostly out of the woods. But I do think the sort of downfall of NFTs is that no one was able to sort of prove the value that decentralization / integration with blockchain will actually bring to video games.
Yeah.
Like, no one's been able to do it yet.
To video games specifically, I think that there is essentially no value. Like, not in the things that they're, like, the example I gave is the only value I can think of where you could sell a used game. Game companies will never let you have that because that's them losing sales. That would be insane for them to do. They're never going to sell you a game as an NFT because, you know,
the only possibility would be like some third party like GameStop, but I'm sure that would run into like immense legal hurdles. So I don't think that'll ever happen.
GameStop just can't afford to. Like, they can't afford a Steam level infrastructure, which
or
is what
even
you need.
some magical third party that has funds that crops up out of nowhere. I don't even think this would get off the ground because I think it would break some existing laws.
Well, yeah, I mean, also, like, nobody can, you know, you'd need Epic money to get off the ground and compete with Steam. Like, PC gamers are not willing to move to another storefront, even if it's pretty good. So
right. So yeah, like I don't know, like I feel like what happened with NFTs is it's kind of like I don't want to say a rare case in the gaming industry, but it's definitely like a unique case in that like a new technology cropped up. People thought, like big gaming companies thought it would fit like a glove with gaming, and it just didn't, right? Like I don't know how else to say it. It just kind of faltered and fizzled out.
NFTs are the result of someone that wanted like scarcity in the gaming space when no one in the gaming space wanted any scarcity for their items and games. It's like walking into Assassin's Creed and finding a one-of-one sword that no one else can have and then telling everyone else about it.
Yeah, I mean, like, so that's an interesting point, Mike. Like, the whole notion of, like, NFTs capitalizing on, like, scarcity, like, very few games, like, particularly, like, something like maybe WoW, or maybe even Counter-Strike, right? Like, games that have this big, dedicated, hardcore fan base maybe could get away with something like that. But, like, you know, if you want to integrate, like, NFTs into, like, the next Call of Duty or Assassin's Creed, like, I don't know, man. Like, something that, like, a wide berth of gamers play, right? Like, casual gamers or whatever. I don't think that's, like, that's something they'd be interested in. Like, maybe NFTs would work to, like, the very hardcore fans of a particular kind of game. But this notion of, like, giving it, like, broad support and, like, opening it up so that everyone can interact with it, and, like, I just don't think that's realistic. And I don't think that's ever going to happen.
I also do want to point out, like, the people doing NFT stuff right now, for the most part, the people in charge are not misguided. They are malicious. Like,
yeah.
If you are involved with NFTs, you are either unknowingly being scammed or you are knowingly scamming someone. Like, there's no real middle ground in there. I mean, they literally like use cult tactics to bring people over. They like, you know, they will say like, oh, you know, all these people that are against NFTs, they just don't understand it, and you do, and you shouldn't talk to them. You should talk to us because we, you know, you're too smart for everybody else. You actually understand this technology. They use like just basic recruitment tactics to get people into this cult mentality where it's them against the rest of the world, and they have their NFTs and they have to hold and, you know, do literal pump and dump schemes and stuff with crypto. And it's like, very sad for the people that are involved in it, because it's not even like, you don't have to be an idiot to fall for this stuff. Like, you just have to not be, you know,
paying attention.
Not even not paying attention, but if you're not like,
there's also like a huge element of FOMO too, right? Like it's like you see this thing, you see people like, you know, obviously a very public small group of people making money off this, and you're like, oh, I don't want to miss out on, well, also, like, this is my chance, right? Like that sort of thing.
All three of us see through this because we have computer science backgrounds. Like I could
two of you technically. I guess I have computer.
Hey, you have enough knowledge. You have more than a layman's knowledge, Mike.
Yeah, I mean, me and Amit are actual software engineers. Mike has played with the idea, and so like, yeah, we see through this. But like a layman who's just like watching the Saturday Night Live skit where Pete Davidson talks about how much money people are making off of NFTs. Yeah,
what was it? What was that late night host who showed off his ape?
His ape.
Yeah, was it?
That's another like weird thing. I don't understand. Like, what's with the apes? I just don't get it.
Yeah, have you guys seen the Bored Ape cartoon?
Oh my god! That's like don't talk about that. It's an NFT cartoon, right?
Yeah, you can buy the episodes as NFTs.
But that doesn't make any sense to me.
No, it's
so if you can just buy the episode as an NFT, like
no, it's literally like owning the scam artist who sold the Golden Gate Bridge. Like he didn't actually own it, but he sold it like 7 times or something. And it's a famous con artist, and like he wasn't even selling, like, you can't stop people from using the bridge. It's a public bridge, everybody's going to use it, but he was claiming that he could sell it to these people. And all right,
so I guess there's a hash in the blockchain somewhere that says that you own this bridge, right? Yeah, like
but no, good luck
having that hold up in like a court of law.
This was
like
60 years ago or something. Like,
I think my favorite NFT, what NFT bros think, is that if they buy an NFT of something, that they own the intellectual property rights to it.
Is that something people thought?
Yeah, there was an entire group dedicated to like buying the first, like, a Dune script for a movie that got canned a long time ago.
I heard about this.
And they were going to try to make a new movie out of it, and then they realized no, they wouldn't own the IP rights to Dune.
Seth Green, there was another one. Seth Green bought an NFT, and he had a show planned. I think it was a Bored Ape, and he had a whole show planned around his Bored Ape.
I just don't get it, man.
Someone stole it. And so he couldn't make his show anymore because he didn't own the ape anymore.
Rights.
Yeah,
it's so
and
dumb.
like that was never how that worked. He still owned the.
Could you imagine if you had an NFT game and you got stolen? It's like, oh, guess I just don't own the game anymore.
Yeah, like it's just nonsense. It's all nonsense.
I'm sorry. I keep going back to this, but someone please explain to me the appeal of the ape.
They're ugly. There is no.
They're
appeal.
ugly.
Like,
it's the cult mentality and some vague Nazi connections.
I can do you one better. Have you guys seen the NFT girlfriends?
What?
Oh, no, I gotta look this up.
It's a procedurally generated girlfriend that you can buy, and it's just an image and a personality. And it's an NFT.
Is it like an AI?
No, it's not. To my knowledge, it's not interactable at all. It's the equivalent of like a trading card.
It's just like a video or something?
No, it's just an image with text.
What are they called?
That's even worse.
Crypto girlfriends?
Maybe, I don't know.
Hold on,
so you're saying I could like go online and like Google image like a picture of an attractive woman and just slap some text on it and sell it? Is that what you're telling me?
These are procedurally generated. So the NFT is essentially the seed that generates this this very custom NFT girlfriend that you own.
So they don't pull from like a pool of like pictures?
They're procedurally generated. So are the apes.
So it's like so it's
the
like
apes are also procedural.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Huh.
Much like did you work on Lobster Bottomy with us, Ahmed?
No, that's the one I miss.
Oh, well, it works very similarly to our date generating algorithm that we made, notably as sophomores in college for free. But we just randomly select a hairstyle, a face, a nose, and a hair color.
So you're telling me
I
all
think
these...
I found them. They're
Sorry,
so stupid.
You're telling me all these apes being sold are procedurally generated? Then, like, that has even less value. Like, no one made it?
So hideous, yeah.
They're not actually art pieces. They just throw it through an algorithm.
Yeah, they're not made by humans. Yeah.
The more I hear about this, just...
Like, AI can create, like, the DALL-E AI. That was cool art. That was just created by people just throwing prompts at an AI. But this is like, you're just throwing a bunch of numbers into a system.
I mean, we're getting into, like, some, like, philosophical stuff, but I don't really see the value in art generated by something that isn't human.
I don't think that's fair.
Eventually, I think, like, we're eventually going to get to the point where AI can make, you know, the most beautiful art, the most beautiful music, that kind of stuff. But, like,
I think at that point, the art's not the art, the algorithm is the art. But
I guess, yeah.
I don't want to own a specific instant. Like, I don't want to own one seat on that algorithm because the algorithm's the art, not the individual piece at that point.
Yeah, that's a good observation. I think I like that.
Because I'm not going to say No Man's Sky isn't art, but No Man's Sky is by and large a procedural algorithm that creates
the technology is the
places.
Art.
Yeah. I can say that I do want to dabble in AI music at some point, but
yeah, AI music is fun. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know, like, I guess it sort of creeps me out, the notion that, like, maybe 100 years from now, machine learning algorithms are just going to, like, get so good at making music and paintings and stuff that it's like, anything a human can do will pale in comparison.
Have you seen the deepfake critical video?
Oh, I was about to talk about that, yeah.
I've seen deep fakes, but I
no, it is
know.
like they deep faked his voice too.
I wasn't looking at the screen very closely. I was like on my phone.
Oh no, the video is actually from his most recent video.
Yeah, I watched his most recent video, but he clipped it, and I didn't realize. Like, he started talking about the fact that part of it was AI generated, and I had not realized at any point that he had stopped.
That's scary,
talking.
man.
Yeah,
the voice
really
was
scary.
AI generated.
Like, it really kind of. It freaks me out. Like, we're headed towards a future where, like, if any video can be generated and if any audio can be generated, like, like, where does that leave us? You know, like,
if I didn't see it with my own two eyes, it did not happen.
Yeah. I mean, like, we're very close to a future where that's the case, right? Like, anything could just be doctored.
You know,
Scary
another
stuff.
thing that NFTs could do to the gaming community is get rid of that cooperative atmosphere that the gaming communities generally have.
How do you mean?
Like, say, like a game like Elden Ring. Someone discovers something and they spread it around and they tell everyone about it. If you have an NFT, say you find an NFT weapon, no one else can grab that weapon anymore.
I agree mostly, but, like, there's a game I used to play a ton of called Mabinogi. It was that was published by the same people as MapleStory, for those keeping score at home. But it had these stones that had to be broken to get into new areas. And on each server, only one person could break the stone, and then your name was immortalized forever there. It forever, for the rest of the game's lifetime, it would say who broke that stone.
Mm-hmm.
And you had to,
I can understand, like...
skill. And that's, like, sick. It's sick to be recognized for your achievement or luck.
And that was done without NFTs.
Yeah.
I mean, Elite Dangerous does that, too.
That was done in 2006.
Or something.
Right.
Yeah,
so I guess it's on a Nexon server somewhere. Oh no, right? Like, we've got to solve this technological problem. I don't know. It's a little silly.
No, there's just not a lot of... It's a solution looking for a problem in many cases. And I don't doubt that there are problems that blockchain is useful for. That's not necessarily what I'm saying. What I am saying is that it is not useful. Like, these are a bunch of made up problems that people are, like, trying to throw blockchain at so that they...
Like, we need a centralized marketplace in a game to sell items to each other.
Like, all these people saying, like, you should use cryptocurrency because the bank shouldn't have control of your money. What they're saying is the bank shouldn't have control of your money. I should have control of your money.
Yeah, literally.
Like, they're just moving the power to them instead of the person that they're saying shouldn't have it. And that's not helpful for anyone.
I am a strong proponent for crypto being a bad financial system because of its inherent instability. It's like It's like buying stocks in Microsoft and then saying I'm going to buy things with my Microsoft stocks.
I
It's
disagree.
the same thing.
Stocks only go up.
Like,
Well, that's not true lately, but
yeah.
but your point is
Long-term,
taken.
stocks only go up.
Crypto is just it's the Wild West in terms of investing, right? Like if you buy it, you got to be
It's not an
prepared to
investment.
ride.
It's a gamble. Like
Yeah.
It's basically
'cause, you know, when you're investing, you buy S&P 500. It might go down next year, but over 5 to 10 years, you will make money, guaranteed. And that's not true with crypto. Like a bunch of people bought into Luna because they thought it was going to blow up. Those people lost everything.
Yeah, I lost a little bit on that for sure.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
See, I sold out of my Doge before the crypto crash because I needed money because I was unemployed for a little bit.
I never
See,
owned
that's the
any-
thing. Like, if you get lucky, right? Like, you can make out with a profit, but
Yeah,
like,
I made $15.
I never owned any crypto. I was given one Dogecoin in a Reddit comment one time, and that was back when Doge was worth like a fraction of a penny. I don't know what it's worth now.
A fraction of a penny.
Okay,
Yeah, it crashed.
I mean,
I did
I,
know
I got out
someone
before it crashed.
who like one of their big goals was to own an entire Bitcoin. They accomplished that goal around January of this year.
oh, rip.
Yeah.
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 I mean, at that point, like your friend has no recourse but to just pray.
They
and
just-
hope,
yeah, they just
right.
wait it
Like you
out,
can't because if you pull out, it's just like
You've just lost
you've just lost,
$60,000 or something,
right? Yeah, you've just gotten destroyed, right?
yeah, just hung out to dry. Absolutely.
Yeah, now Dogecoin's down to 6 cents.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that
Well,
would be
I don't know.
High this year of
So-
18 cents.
I want to just bring it back to NFTs because obviously there's like a lot of overlap between cryptocurrency and NFTs, but like NFTs are their sort of own entity, especially as they relate to gaming. And I wanted to talk about specifically Square Enix. This one puzzles me, right? Because with Ubisoft, I can kind of see where they're coming from, at least in the sense that like they have these games that have these monetization models that are like, okay, we're going to have these items for like these massively multiplayer games and stuff like that. Like that concept, at least, you know, whether or not you agree with it, it you know, it can happen. It makes sense. With Square Enix, they make like what, single player RPGs? Like what, why are they getting into NFTs? Like what are they going to do? Like
ruin
that-
Final Fantasy. I don't know.
that's, I hope not, right? Like, I mean, obviously they have like Final Fantasy 14, which is like one of the biggest MMOs in the world at this point.
If they
but, like-
put NFTs in Dragon Quest, I'm gonna.
But that's what I'm saying, like, right?
yeah,
like, they
I'm
have
gonna
Dragon
lose my
Quest, they
mind.
have Final Fantasy, like, these are beloved single-player RPG franchises. Like, and the fact that they've been talking about NFTs nonstop for, like, a year now, like, really scares me. Like, which, like, because that tells me that, like, they're gonna try and, like, shoehorn them into these single-player RPGs.
Yeah, it really kind of feels like it's the microtransaction plague of the early 2010s all over again. Like,
I guess, but,
and
like,
we were all
it-
convinced that it was going to ruin gaming forever, and then it largely blew over. Like, yeah, games still have microtransactions, but I can't remember the last time I played a game where I was like
Forced
bothered
to-
by them.
yeah.
Like,
I mean, Star Wars, I think the last one was Star Wars Battlefront 2.
and
That
like,
was
the
when that
where
game
it
launched
exploded.
Yeah.
That was in like 2017 or something.
17.
Yeah, we did
yeah,
it.
that was
we
a
did an
long time
episode
ago.
on it.
Yeah.
We did.
So
But
I guess
it- like,
did
it's
last
just-
a while.
Yes, yeah, okay, but like still, Square Enix, what are you doing? Like,
Oh yeah, I'm not saying they're
And-
not
and-
wrong. I just don't, I think it's
I
a
mean,
growing pain. I think it'll go
If
away.
you think about it, Square Enix went all in on crypto because they sold off a significant portion of their like high vol.
well, so like
value,
they
studios.
sold off like Crystal Dynamics, right, which is like a Western studio anyway, and like they were hemorrhaging money because of Avengers,
And
right?
Eidos.
So it made sense to like
Yeah,
divest
actually,
that
I
or
wonder
whatever.
how much of this is like Square Enix hurting from Avengers, because that was a huge.
But okay, so here's the thing: like Square Enix was hurting from Avengers, specifically Crystal Dynamics, but they sold Crystal Dynamics, and like now they just have their core bread and butter series like
Yeah.
Final Fantasy and Dragon Quest, and those have never been stronger. Like those
yeah.
are doing great. Final Fantasy VII Remake set the world on fire.
It's-
Dragon Quest XI is considered like the most beloved Dragon Quest. Like
Very
I think
good
they're
game.
doing they're doing
gonna
fine.
be better
It's
off
just-
for everyone involved because Eidos Montreal and Crystal Dynamics are now just going to be free to make what they want to make instead of whatever Square Enix wants them to make.
Well, Crystal
So,
Dynamics. So
I'm
like,
happy as a Deus Ex fan that we might get another Deus Ex game.
Yeah, I think this is largely a win for anyone who was a fan of the IP that Square Enix owned. But like, Crystal Dynamics is interesting because like they were working on Avengers, but apparently they're also they have a huge hand in like first party development from Microsoft as well, and they're helping with Perfect Dark, which I don't really know what to make of that. It's kind of strange that Microsoft's big AAA first party game that is coming out is being worked on by multiple like large studios. But that's neither here or there.
That does remind me, though. I feel like we should point out the good, too. Like, Microsoft has made a pretty fair anti-NFT stance recently.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah.
I want to say, did PlayStation say something as well?
I don't remember if they did. So one thing
they definitely
did,
haven't said anything that they are.
They're definitely, I think they are anti-NFT because they recently announced something called like an initiative called PlayStation Stars. And they were like, it was like a program where like you could earn like digital kind of like badges and goodies for accomplishments in games. So things like if you're the first person in a time zone to platinum a game, you can get a specific like digital good or something like that. And everyone was just like, oh god, does this mean NFTs? And then they came out in a very strong statement. They were like, this is not NFTs at all. You don't have to worry about that.
That's pretty cool. I mean, Steam has something, Steam has like their badges and stuff that you can earn. I think that's all fun and harmless.
Yeah, I think that's pretty cool. And honestly, it got my mind thinking like, maybe this is a precursor to another like PlayStation Home sort of thing. Because like with PSVR 2 coming out, right? And now these digital like sort of goodies, like it sounds like a nice fit, right? Like if you have a PSVR PlayStation Home where you can like show off these badges and stuff. But like, I digress, right? Like, so PlayStation, Microsoft, like the big first parties, I think are all at least not for NFTs, if not explicitly anti-NFT.
I do want to point out the elephant in the room, though. The meta elephant in the room.
The Metaverse.
Yeah.
All
Facebook,
right, I have a lot
Meta.
of thoughts on Metaverse.
They're, I don't know. We could probably do a whole episode on the Metaverse, but Facebook, Meta, whatever, they are pretty all in on NFTs. They think that they are going to make bank selling you.
I think the Metaverse is another thing these big tech companies are jumping onto because they think it's something unique and different.
I mean, are they really
so
though?
disconnected?
It's just meta, right? It's just meta. Like I don't
like
because when Facebook changed their name to Meta, and Zuckerberg was like, "This is what the Metaverse is," and like he made this big announcement spiel, it tanked their stock, right? Like everyone was just like, "What is this? Why are you doing
nothing
this?"
to show for it yet, and it's been like 2 years. Like,
I mean, there's a lot of smaller companies that are hopping onto this Second Life Metaverse claim that.
I mean, I told you guys about it. I got contacted by a recruiter trying to hire me to do meta VR work, and like, no, it's insane.
It's like people haven't heard of like Second Life or VR chat or any of those things.
So I don't know, like, I don't think NFTs as they exist today are going to be around for much longer. I don't know if they're going to be iterated on or changed in some way that Meta makes them more palatable, but like a company like Meta, they're big enough to change the world, right? Like if they really wanted to.
Yeah, regardless of what
whether we want to or not, right? Like they're big, they have the power to do it. So it remains to be seen what they end up doing with this metaverse and how NFTs end up being integrated with that. But I don't know, man. It's just kind of like hogwash right now. Like
it is.
And also, like, I do sometimes feel like that maybe they're just marketing it to a generation that maybe hasn't been born yet, right? Like a completely all VR, all AR, all digital generation, right? Maybe this stuff will make sense to them, but
I don't want to like confuse my stance on things. I'm pretty pro VR and AR. I think they're really cool
for sure,
technologies.
absolutely, yeah. No, absolutely. I just think the metaverse in particular is kind of stupid.
Yeah, yeah. I think the name metaverse is definitely stupid. What I would like to be able to like, and you already can do this, but I would love to be able to like have a LAN party in VR and just sit and play.
Yeah, like shared VR spaces.
It's extremely fun.
Is a cool. I mean, like VR chat is a thing, right?
VR chat. I love. Like, I do enjoy hanging out with people in VR chat.
There's a game called Big Screen where you can just like have a LAN party. Basically, like it streams your screen and everybody can see it and you can see theirs, and like you can just play video games like you're all in the same room, and that's like sick. It's extremely sick.
When VR for social interactivity is huge.
Yeah, it is huge. And when it's positioned as like, hey, this is a game, or hey, this is an app, like, that's fine. But Meta is like, hey, VR is like, we're all going to be in VR forever now, and like, this is our future, like, right? Like, and that's just like
the future that they're painting is so hideous and bleak too. Like, I don't know if you guys have seen actual gameplay. I think it's beta still, which granted
of Metaverse, I have actually. Yeah.
Oh, it's so hideous. It looks so bland and corporate. It's like,
I mean, honestly, from what I've seen, and granted, I haven't played VR chat either. It just looked like VR chat to me.
It did not look like VR chat to me. It looked. I mean, I have played VR chat, and VR chat has like a fun element of chaos to it, and Meta will never allow that. Like,
that's what makes VR chat fun, is that element of just pure unadulterated chaos.
Yeah. I haven't played a ton of VR chat, but I have just walked around in it a few times.
Yeah, I've hung out with people in VR chat.
Yeah.
Like peak pandemic, I went to a music festival in VR chat.
Isn't VR chat
That's
how you
crazy,
break your
man.
monitor?
Yeah, it's VR chat is how I broke my monitor.
Yeah.
I was cooking.
Yep.
We just got to get those Omni treadmills out there, and then we will.
Dude, I was talking to somebody. The price on those has like really gone down. Apparently, you can get them for like $2,000 now. That's like well within the budget of like.
I mean, if you're all in on VR, I guess, right? Like, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know, man. Like, I mean, do games support that yet?
I don't know. I have no idea.
Like,
probably as like an input.
I bet VR chat does.
Yeah, I mean, it's coming. Either way, it's coming. Yeah.
I bet you can just translate the movement from that to joystick input. That wouldn't surprise me at all. That's probably a pretty simple translation.
Mm-hmm.
So any game that supports joystick input could probably work with an Omni treadmill.
Yeah.
More than likely.
So what is Meta planning for NFTs? Do you know? Like, I mean, do we know in general? Like,
they're not just looking into NFTs. The recruiter I was getting pestered by was trying to hire me to make play to earn games, which are games where you play. And the idea is you would earn an NFT and then you can sell the NFT to make money, I think. The other, I've also seen the concept for play to earn, where basically, like, while you're playing the game, your computer is mining crypto in the background. And so, like, you are generating money both for yourself and for the developer of that game while you play it. And that's terrible and stupid as well.
Yeah, weird times we live in, man.
Because both of those just encourage, like, addictive game design, which is pretty malicious a lot of the time. Just dopamine hits for nothing. And
hey, I do like my dopamine.
Yeah, I mean, that's what's so messed up about loot crates, is that deep down, I do love opening them.
I mean, they're designed to give you that hit, right?
Yeah,
like, they're designed to,
and they do it, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Sounds like we're wrapping up this discussion. Do you guys have any final thoughts on NFT or Metaverse?
Thanks.
Yeah, thumbs down.
Yeah, no thanks.
Yeah. All right, let's get into what we've been playing. I can... Oh, do you want to go first, Connor?
I do kind of want to go first.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah.
A game called Omori was added to Game Pass recently. Have you two ever heard of it?
No.
I feel like I've heard of the name.
I feel like you've probably heard of it, Mike. It's an RPG that, like, it definitely, like, draws inspiration from Earthbound in the same way that, like, Undertale does.
So, like, every other Earthbound, like?
Yeah, but it's and it was a Kickstarter game, I think, and I thought it was people thought it was gonna be vaporware for a really long time. It took forever to come out. This game is nuts. It is emotionally devastating. Like, I can't, like, it is so messed up. I can't believe that they put it on Game Pass. Like,
What kind of game is it? Like, what genre?
it's horror, I guess, is what I would put it as. It's a horror
okay.
RPG.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to think of how to explain it. It's a video game about how different people cope with trauma. So
Sounds heavy.
it starts out, you're playing as Omori, which is the end of, I think it's Kikikomori. It's a Japanese word that is someone who has basically totally detached from society and just sits in their room.
Hikikomori. Yeah, that's a fascinating phenomenon.
This game is about,
particularly in Japan, right?
you play as a character called Omori, who is a Kikikomori, and they have totally retreated into their head, a place called White Space. And you leave White Space early on and you enter what's called Headspace, which is like this fantastical world that is clearly like modeled after your hometown, but a fantastical version of it.
Mm-hmm.
And you are walking around with your childhood friends and you have all this fun and stuff. And your sister is there and these two brothers are hanging out with you. You're a little girl you're friends with and a guy, and you're hanging out and it's a bunch of fun and you get into like childhood fantasy fight antics and stuff, and that's where the RPG system is. And it's like giving you like little hints that something is gonna happen that is kind of
Something
wild.
isn't right.
And then you go over to one of your friends' houses in the game and you're looking through a photo album and it's really fun. All these pictures are cute and it's all your friends hanging out. And then one of your friends finds another picture and they're like, wait a minute, this picture looks really familiar. But this person, and their eyes like get really red and big and scary, and like, this person is, and then it cuts back to White Space and you're like trapped in your head again. And it's just an extremely dark game. Like I genuinely have a hard time recommending this game to anyone because it puts you in a pretty dark place, and it's like 14 hours long.
Wow.
And it's like pretty heavy throughout. Like the fantasy parts, it has like, it'll go like 2 or 3 hours at a time where you're adventuring this fun fantasy world and it doesn't bring up the horror literally at all. And then it'll all of a sudden come back and you have to deal with it.
You'll turn up the horror. I like games like that.
It's extremely good. Like, it is an absolute masterpiece. It definitely drags in some points. Like, there are parts of the game where I was like, all right, I'm interested in like the actual horror story side of this. Can we please get back to that? And it drags on for a really long time. It's masterful in suspense because very few games I've played where I was thinking like, I had the thought like, oh, I can see where this is going. Come on, get on with it. And then an hour later, I'll be thinking, oh my God, I can see where this is going. Please don't do this to me. Like, where the suspense is so thick and you know exactly what's going to happen and there's nothing you can do to stop it. And it's like edge of your seat, horrific. It's very
This sounds
good.
very interesting, yeah.
It's extremely good, but I do like, if you want to play it, do look at the content warnings and stuff because it has some extremely messed up imagery and stuff in it. I cannot believe, like, the official Xbox Game Pass account posted on Twitter, they posted a tweet that was like, wow, can't wait to play this fun and uplifting RPG. And it was a screenshot from Omori. And I don't even think that it was okay to joke about that. Because,
yeah, that's pretty insane.
It would not, if I had picked up this game thinking it was going to be a happy game, I would have not had a good time at all. It's
okay. Yeah,
it's
this is definitely
like,
this is on my list. It looks very interesting.
It's super good, but oh my God. And it like, it's just, I never quite knew what was going to happen. Like, as far as like overarching story, like it was really good with suspense and just everything. I will say it has multiple like routes that you can do, sort of like Undertale does. Like there's a Hikikomori route where you like at some point you wake up and you're like in the real world and you can leave your house or you cannot. And that's like the main route split between the Hikikomori. I literally can't imagine playing this game a second time. I don't think I could put myself through it. It was
wow.
It's not a fun game per se. Now, granted, the combat's pretty fun. It has this really cool combat system where the the emotional state of your heroes is like their element. So like it's happy beats angry, angry beats sad, sad beats angry. So it's like a rock, paper, scissors thing. And you can do certain things to make your characters happy, sad, or angry to affect how much they're damaging opponents that are happy, sad, or angry. And you can also affect the emotional state of your opponents. And that combat system, it starts really bad because you don't have a lot of options. But by the end of the game, I felt like I was pulling off. It was actually like impressively interesting turn-based combat that I was having a good time with. But the combat in the early game is really boring, and I had to grind at one point. And this is definitely a game that is hurt by having to grind because it really takes you out of the emotional journey you're going on.
Makes sense.
But it's extremely, it's what a game. It's nuts. If it is something that interests you, I do recommend you not get spoiled on it, because I think every twist and turn is like worth experiencing if you're interested in that.
Yeah, I'm going to play this at some point. Doesn't sound like there's much else like it.
No, I definitely, it made, like, if you've played Undertale and you, like, know how happy you feel at the end of Undertale, like when you get the, like, the no violence ending or whatever it's called, like the feeling of triumph you feel, if you can imagine the exact opposite of that feeling, that is what Omori will make you feel.
Oh my god.
Wow.
Like, it's very bad. Cathartic is the best, I guess, the word I would use.
Yeah, you've definitely piqued my interest.
Yeah. That's all I have to say about Omori. I think I don't want to spoil anything about it, but I started it on like last Friday and I had to play it all the way through. Like, it was one of those games where I was like towards the end of it at like 1 a.m. or something on a Saturday night, and I really wanted to go to bed, but I genuinely thought if I turn this game off, I will not be able to come back to it. So I had to finish it.
Yeah.
It was one of those games.
Yeah. Because it was like just so, like, it just felt like pushing against your instinct to keep going because you did not want to see what happens next.
No, I love that, man. I love it when a game makes me feel like that. Like, obviously it feels bad, but like,
yeah,
it's incredible to feel that way about anything.
Yeah,
really.
I don't get affected by horror very much. Like, I'm not, I don't know, horror media just doesn't get to me that much. And this did. Like, it's pretty rare that I'm left thinking about something like that for a long time afterwards. And Omori had me definitely having trouble sleeping that night.
Wow.
God.
So that's mine.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I have two, so I guess I can go, then Mike can go, and I can go.
Yeah, I have, I think, a short one and then like a long form one.
Okay.
Actually, I have like 3, but one of them's very short.
Okay. I just really wanted to quickly, this just popped up on my phone, and it's incredibly relevant because we were just talking about NFTs. So GameStop, being the classy company they are, have released a 9/11 victim NFT, which...
You're kidding me.
I don't know in what universe anyone would sign off on that as a good idea, but yeah. NFTs, everybody.
That's insane. What are they thinking?
It's like
What are they
it's like an
doing?
NFT of like a man falling out of the tower. It's just like so messed up.
Oh my god, I saw that. I didn't realize that was a 9/11 thing.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Okay, well. Anyways, so I have a short one and a longer one too. So my short one will be MapleStory.
Oh,
so
man.
I have made my, I guess, quarterly pilgrimage to the trash heap that is MapleStory. But so the reason I came back this time is because they did a massive revamp of the Explorer classes. And for those who don't know, the Explorers are the core classes of MapleStory, the first classes that were available when the game came out. So that's Warrior, Bowman, Magician, Thief, and Pirate. Right? So they did a revamp of all of those. I said Magician, right? Anyway.
I don't know.
But they did a revamp of all of those. All the animations for all their skills have been updated to be more congruent with like the modern art and stuff like that. and
good?
as like the skills have been rebalanced and stuff, and it's very good. Yeah, like it's I like it quite a bit. I made a pirate, specifically a corsair, and I had a lot of fun just leveling that guy up.
Did you get to max level?
Oh god, you realize to get to max level, that would take probably years of play.
Really? I thought they made it pretty easy to get to max level now.
200 is not max level, by the way. Not anymore. Yeah. There's a whole 5th job that goes past 200.
Oh my god, really?
Yeah. Yes. You get to 5th job when you get to 200. And in some ways, that's when the game like actually starts, which is kind of wild to say.
MMO. Yeah.
But no, I think I leveled my pirate to like 170 or something. But like
so halfway. It's
just yeah, basically. But like that's just my relationship with MapleStory. Every like 3-4 months, come back, play for like a day or two, and then like uninstall it.
I can't believe you didn't text me. I'd have been there.
Oh man, maybe I can make another one.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see. But yeah, I saw like, I don't know, like every now and then I just check the website. Anything interesting happening? Nope. Okay. Then don't think about it again for several more months. But this time when I checked, saw that there was an Explorer revamp, which is very interesting to me, right? Because that like plays on my nostalgia as well, right? Because like the Explorers are like what I remember MapleStory to be.
Yeah.
But
I've only ever played as an Explorer and a Cygnus Knight. I don't think I've ever even played the others.
Yeah. So Cygnus Knight is like everything after that is like new MapleStory, to me at least.
The Cygnus Knights are just baby mode Explorers, basically.
Yeah, but I think they've differentiated them enough to like kind of be their own classes now.
They definitely have like a story their own, which is
neat. Well, getting into that, one thing I really found incredibly annoying is now that the Explorers are chock full of unskippable cutscenes and dialogue for the first like 30 levels or something like that.
That's miserable.
So, like, you can't even job advance without doing a bunch of inane quests, which really kind of hampers the Explorer experience. Because, like, all these other classes were, like, all based off, like, MapleStory lore, and, like, you incorporated their stories into the overall...
cool part about Explorer was that it was the most open to
Right, it was just, like, you were
Yeah.
just, like, a guy who's exploring the world, but now you're part of some, like... You actually encountered the Black Mage when you were a child, and like they kind of ruined everything. Yeah, it's really dumb.
That's really lame. Yeah,
but yeah, I just kind of hit enter as quickly as I can anytime dialogue came up.
I really hate
because it was
MMOs.
just too much. It was just way too much. Like even if it was just a little bit, maybe that would have been okay. But they like crammed a bunch of unskippable nonsense into this. I just wanted to play the game.
Yeah.
So. That was annoying. So in that sense, maybe they've made the Explorers worse. But in terms of the actual like mechanics and playing them, they've never been more fun to play, which is I guess a good thing.
As long as they don't revamp the music, I'm still down to clown.
The music is still the music, man. Like
the
that
music,
it's God tier, S tier.
Like "Missing You," I think is the song, the Alinea theme song. That I can't hum it. It's too fast.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Oh my god. It tugs at the heartstrings.
It's just really good, man. It's
and
like
Lith Harbor.
It's some of the like
banger, like
hot take. MapleStory has some of the best like ambient tracks.
MapleStory
in any
might be
game,
the second
in
best
any game.
soundtrack of any game I've ever played. First being Outer Wilds.
Shockingly good. And also like Genesis, man, just like the upbeat, cheery music there. Yeah. Like you just kind of want to hang out there, you know?
And like I think Ludibrium is one of the most fun locations in any game ever.
In the Toyland, yeah.
Yeah, I just like just looking at it makes me happy. It's so fun. And like it's neat. Like Ludibrium is like for those who haven't played MapleStory, Ludibrium is this area where it's like the surface is like a big toy area, but in the middle of town there's a dungeon you can go into. And also on the left and right sides, there are these towers you can go down. And any of those three ways you can descend to the next area, but they're like different difficulties. Like the towers are easier. The central dungeon is actually really hard. And it's like a dark underbelly of this toy world.
Yeah,
it's
like,
so...
And then one tower leads to like the Korean folk town or something, and one tower leads to the Omega sector, which is like a place taken over by aliens, like sectioned off by the government. I don't know. It's just like the world of MapleStory is interesting.
It's really interesting, and something I love about MapleStory is that like when you first play it, there are a couple of times where you think the only way to get between two locations is to like take a fast travel or something like a boat or a warp or something. But then you find out later that there's literally like a world under the ocean, and you can walk if you want to get between.
I love that
basically any
about
two
old
places.
MapleStory.
Yeah.
Like like nowadays this wouldn't fly, but I loved making the journey, right? Like I
Yeah.
made that journey so many times when I was a kid, right?
Oh,
like
it was so
the
fun.
journey from like Orbis underneath the ocean all the way to Ludibrium,
Dude,
right? Like
Just getting to Sleepywood was like nuts for me the first time. That's the dungeon on Victoria Island.
Yeah, and nowadays everything's just like a portal away, which is not as
They
cool,
also
man.
used to have hidden portals like that didn't have like there would be a part in the bushes, and you like there were portals on the like that usually take you between maps and MapleStory, but there were hidden portals that didn't have the same signifiers that the others had. And it felt so rewarding to find those, and you would find these cool areas, and now they've like replaced all of those with just normal
Yeah,
portals.
man, like that was part of the charm of MapleStory, like just the exploration part.
Yeah.
Right, and that really isn't a big focus anymore, which is a shame. But
No, that's
I guess you could always hop on like an old school MapleStory server.
that
to
is like the
experience
problem
that.
with these live service games, though, is that like the MapleStory that I fell in love with doesn't really exist anymore.
It doesn't, yeah.
Like I hate the new Victoria Island is like the first like there's Maple Island, which is the tutorial, and you leave that and you go to Victoria Island, which is where you get your first class upgrade and stuff. And Victoria Island used to be this big circuit.
Yeah, and it was a great map. Like,
Yeah.
and it was filled with like these really interesting, distinct towns that had their own sort of vibe, their own culture, right? Like,
And
Parion was like in the mountains, and it was like kind of like inspired by like Native American
Yeah.
sort of aesthetics, and like Elenio was in the forest, and there were magicians and stuff there.
Which was just
Kerning
like
City
Detroit,
was like it was basically just like a rundown. It was like the slums and like. But like even
wasn't all
Kerning
slums. It
City
had,
was
like,
a
that
great
nice-
map
yeah.
too. Like
it
it was
had a map, or it had a mall, it had a subway, it had all this cool stuff. It wasn't just a
yeah. It
rundown
was
city.
no, it was great. Yeah, and then
And,
like Hennesis was like the little village where like everyone always
everyone
gathered.
went to Hennesis, yeah, because it was
And,
like
and-
the central point.
And then the pirates got added afterwards, so Nautilus is kind of like an afterthought.
Nautilus
but,
was
like,
just kind of tacked onto the side of
Yeah.
Hennesis, but
but
that
the
was
four
also
core
good.
maps are just all brilliant. Yeah.
And then they did something called the Big Bang update, where they took this brilliant like circuit around like you could do laps around Victoria Island in the old days. And
Yeah.
they took it and they were like, but it's too hard for new players to get to areas, I guess. And they made it so that it's more of a like you go to a central point early on and all the areas are spokes off of that, which is just less interesting to me.
Yeah.
It's a much less interesting map
It
design.
is.
It doesn't feel like an adventure, it feels like an amusement park.
And then when you like take the boat to Orbis for the first time, and you have to like stay huddled inside because the Balrogs are outside.
They took
like,
that out, didn't they?
They took it out.
Yeah, that was.
which
Oh
is a
my
shame.
god, I
Yeah.
got the first time. I didn't know it was coming. I was sitting
Yeah.
on my chair, and it
But,
was a
like,
long flight. It was like a 10-minute flight.
I know,
too,
right?
and
Like
you're-
you actually had to wait for the boat, and then you actually had to travel on the flying boat
I
for like
remember
10
sitting
plus
and
minutes,
waiting, like,
and it's so like such a waste of time. But I loved that as a
took
kid,
so
right? Like
long.
you felt like you were actually doing something.
I made friends doing that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I like. It took me so long. I remember it. It was like my first journey to Orbis took like 40 minutes, and I was an idiot kid. I didn't have any money to get back.
And you were just stuck in Orbis.
I was stuck begging at Orbis.
You just became a beggar on the streets of Orbis.
until I got enough money to come back.
That's so funny.
Oh.
But yeah, no, Orbis was like a whole other continent, and it was like it was when I first got there. It was like, oh my god, it's a whole new land to explore.
Yeah, it felt like a whole new game.
and like
yeah.
there was like this like these maps like above the clouds and stuff, and you go down Orbis Tower and you reach the snowy city of Elnath, and like I don't know, man, like there's a lot of good about the world of MapleStory, and just talking
Yeah.
about it is making me very nostalgic.
Me too. And I like the events too. Like some of them are fun. Like what I like about MapleStory is that the world is so nonsensical to begin with that they can just put anything in it. Like
I mean, it is sort of a blank canvas, right? Like,
yeah, like it doesn't feel bad that they've put a bunch of robots in the game now and like aliens and stuff. Like that's just like fine. Like it's MapleStory, you can do whatever.
yeah.
I remember when this had to be like 2008 or something. There was a 4th of July event, and everybody, like, you could get, like, an American flag that was a sword, and that was just all
I
anybody
remember that, yeah.
used.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yeah. And I remember the Independence Day hat. Remember that?
Oh my god, yeah. And just everybody had it. And like, at least at low levels, because it was actually a pretty good item for low level, because it had such a wide level range, but pretty good stats.
God, yeah. Man, I miss what MapleStory used to be.
Yeah, me too. That game used to be so much. It was just nuts how much fun you had. And I did put money into MapleStory at some point.
I used to beg my parents for NX cash,
but you didn't really need it. You could have
didn't
a lot
need
of
it,
fun
but
in that game without any.
I don't know. I really wanted a pet penguin, man. I really wanted one.
Too. I got a pet. Yeah, I got a pet and a haircut. That was what I spent my money on. I think.
So
it was.
stupid.
I had leftover because I actually spent a ton of money on Mabinogi, and I remember I had some pocket change left over that wasn't enough to buy anything in Mabinogi, so I spent it in MapleStory, and was able to get a pet and some.
Oh, MapleStory.
Yeah.
Oh, MapleStory.
See, that's the thing. Even though I'm not too big of a fan of what it's become, the nostalgia hooks are in me so strong. I don't think I'll ever fully quit MapleStory. Every once in a while, I'll come back.
No, I mean, I saw Oni Plays did a couple videos on MapleStory recently, and there was just no way I wasn't going to click that.
Yeah. It got me when I was young.
Yeah, me too. Those commercials, they had a commercial where somebody was slapping somebody with a fish or something. I was immediately drawn in.
No, I was I think I've said this before in the podcast, but I went over to my friend's house and I saw my friend playing MapleStory and just killing snails and picking up coins and shells, and I was like, "This is the greatest game I've ever seen, and I need to play this." Yeah,
I got so many of my friends in trouble because I got a lot of my friends into MapleStory, and then their parents found out that they were playing an MMO, and online game hysteria was still Xbox Live wasn't really a thing yet. So
that was my parents were deep into online game hysteria.
Yeah, so I had some friends
they wouldn't even allow me on the internet until
I mean, to an extent, I sort of get it, right? If you're
think
8 years old and you're on an MMO, just unfiltered access to an MMO is just kind of sketchy. Yeah.
But I remember I would play with my friend Jordan, and he would call me my real name sometimes, and I'd be like, "What are you doing?"
Dude, what if these strangers
know? If they know my name is Connor, they're gonna come kidnap me off the playground.
Dude, honestly, I had that fear. I had that fear too when I played MMOs. I was like, I never want to say my real name because people will be able to track me or whatever.
See, I still had that fear up when I started streaming, but I'm like, why not?
I had that. Last time I played MapleStory, I named my character my friend Brock's full first and last name.
That's
rude.
It's just stupid. And it's what I sent him a Snapchat of it, and I just think it's one of the funniest things I've ever done.
It's your ex character is his cell phone number or something.
It's his social.
Doxing him, his credit card number, last 4 digits of his social,
his address.
That's really funny. His mom's
We've gone from don't put your name on the internet to dox your friends on the internet because it's funny. This is the equivalent of me not talking to people in high school because I thought it was funny because I get so angry about it.
He doesn't have a common name either.
Oh my god. I'm just going to do that to my brother-in-law.
And flame people.
Everyone's going to think I'm Welsh.
No.
Man, okay, so MapleStory was supposed to be my short and sweet one, but it just sort of spiraled into a... Yeah.
You forget that Connor is here.
Yeah.
I don't know, we got to pay our taxes, right? Every 3 or 4 months, we got to talk about MapleStory. So there you have it.
Yeah, you talk about MapleStory more than I talk about Warframe.
That's not true.
I mean, if you add it up, maybe it might be true, but
I haven't talked about Warframe in a hot minute. Speaking of that now.
Yeah. Well, you want to go now, Mike?
Yeah. So my short one is I bought Todd Howard Did It Again.
Oh yeah, Skyrim VR.
Yeah, Skyrim VR. And Todd Howard did it again.
Skyrim VR was already a thing, right?
Yeah, but I bought Skyrim VR.
Oh, you bought? Oh, okay.
Playing it.
Yeah.
You talked about it a while ago, but I've never played it before, and I've modded it up.
It's pretty fun, right?
I spent 30 minutes trying to throw a hammer at bandits.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like Skyrim VR. I liked it the novelty when I played it at Amit's house the first time.
I will say it feels a lot better when it's super modded. I don't think I could play vanilla Skyrim.
Yeah,
because at least with the mods, I can it has kinematics, so I can grab people and throw them.
Yeah, the only problem I think I really had with it is that it was $40, right, for Skyrim VR, and it's just Skyrim again.
It's just Skyrim, yeah.
It really did not it's still like Skyrim has a lot of menus, and menus in VR are the worst.
There was like a novelty though, like
Oh, for sure, because it was like one of the
playing
first bigger
Skyrim
AAA
in
games.
VR for the first time was just pure magic. It was unbelievable almost.
When
But then
you let
like
me play it
after
for a
an
few
hour
minutes-
or two, the magic wears off. Yeah.
I played it at your house, and it was just the combat, just the running around adventuring, and I was like, this is incredible. I have to buy this. And I did. And when I played it at my house, suddenly I had to do a character creator. And I was like, oh, this is the worst thing I've ever played in my entire life.
Yeah.
It was... That's a huge exaggeration. It's actually pretty fun, but the menus
It's
are
okay.
bad. Are there mods for that? Like, are there mods to make, like, blacksmithing fun and stuff?
Oh, there's mods for everything. I think I have it modded to where I can throw weapons.
Like, if, like, some of the menus were made immersive, I think it would actually
Yes,
be,
there.
like...
I've actually have one where it's like a spell wheel.
Okay, yeah, that would
so I
that
can,
would
like,
do a lot.
choose what weapon I have equipped in what hand.
That's
generally.
That's kind of huge, yeah. Like, even if it, like, if I was going to do a VR Skyrim, I would, like, instead of an inventory, like, when you hit the inventory button, you would just be put into, like, a bag of holding, like a room that has all your stuff in it that you can see with your eyes and, like, move around as physics objects. That would be insanely, like, that would solve that problem.
That'd be so much better.
Yeah, should make that mod. But that, like, if I'm making a VR RPG, that's the kind of stuff, like, I'm going to think about. And obviously, Skyrim wasn't made with VR in mind, so it doesn't have that sort of thing.
At least I have Sky UI for Skyrim VR.
But just
Yeah.
imagine like a proper like Skyrim-sized VR RPG that was built for the ground up for VR. Like
Yeah.
just the level of immersion that would give you. Like, man,
The game I think of is
I would be
Fable
so
3.
into that. Yeah,
Fable 3
like
had
Fable
that,
3
like,
VR.
immersive pause menu where
Yeah.
you, like, when you paused, you, like, went back to that base.
Yeah,
or
you'd
whatever.
go to
I think-
like your sanctum or whatever.
I think that would translate to VR extraordinarily well.
Yeah, I mean, I think something like that is coming. Obviously, like these kind of experiences we're getting close.
Do we know if
to having something like that?
Starfield is going to support VR at launch?
I don't.
It seems
think
like it'd
so.
be such a
like
missed
they would
opportunity.
have said it by now. I think. if it
Yeah, they
did.
would have said something about it. That would have been in their marketing
Plus,
budget.
like Microsoft's not too gung ho on VR, so I don't know.
No,
like,
they're not. Which is wild because they have Windows mixed reality.
especially with Bethesda, right? Like their games would translate so well to VR if like they were actually like
Yeah, if they had that in mind.
yeah.
Yeah. Now, I think I do have a slightly longer one because I've been playing Vampire Survivors.
Okay.
Yeah, you
like,
mentioned
like
that.
fiending it.
You mentioned that last time. and I think you mentioned it a couple times now, and each time you mentioned it, you say you like it more, right?
No.
Or no,
I haven't
I'm thinking
mentioned
of a different
Vampire
game, right?
Survivors. I think I've mentioned
Rising.
yeah.
V
I
Rising.
think I talked
Yeah,
about
I'm thinking of
V-Rising.
V Rising. Yeah.
I guess I could lump Vampire Survivors and Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines into one game, despite it being like a faux pas or whatever.
Aren't those, like, vastly different games?
They are vastly different. And that's why I'm linking them together.
Okay. All right. You've piqued my interest. Keep going.
But like Vampire Survivors, it's so simplistic because it's a roguelite-esque.
Yeah.
Like each round lasts like 30 minutes or something like that. Like it's not that long. I think it hard kills you at 30 minutes, but you just walk around slaying enemies, and it's like $7 now. So it's worthwhile.
Oh, okay. I just
Yeah.
looked it up. Vampire. I saw NL play this game. This game looks very fun.
Oh,
It
right,
is.
Yeah.
I really enjoy it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Northern Lion played it for a long time. It was just a big stream game for a bit. It's also on Game Pass.
Yeah. And it's dirt cheap, and it's well worth the entertainment. I've already gotten a couple hours of entertainment out of
So
it.
you basically just like you just try to survive hordes of enemies, right? As
Yep.
you like upgrade and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's a roguelike, so like each run is totally different.
Oh, each run, they all follow the same pattern on each map. Like, it starts off with bats, and then it just kind of escalates.
Well,
from
I mean,
there.
like the
But-
power ups are different,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right? Like it's random power ups.
I think the levels not being random is what adds to it.
Yeah, I mean the levels are basically just open spaces, right? You're just trying to like dodge enemies and like pick up
Yeah.
experience and power ups and stuff. But yeah, no, I dug this game when I saw it.
Yeah, it's very fun. It's what I've been playing in the background, I will say. But I enjoy it a lot. And I don't have much. I have a lot of short games to talk about. I guess.
Okay.
Vampire the Masquerade, great RPG, would recommend. Kind of jank. Still looks good for a 2004 game.
A lot of vampire stuff these days.
Yeah, I don't know.
Have you exited your playing phase and entered your vampire phase?
Yeah, I guess so. I guess I've entered the vampire phase.
Mike is in his vampire arc.
Oh, God. Make it stop. No, the last game I'm going to talk about is not vampire related, thankfully, but I'm going to give everyone else the turn to talk about things.
Okay, yeah, I can go, or unless Connor, you have another one.
I've been playing Risk of Rain 2. I don't have a ton to say about it. It's really fun.
It is very fun.
I don't know if I necessarily like it as a roguelike. Like, there are random items and stuff in it. But it doesn't really scratch the same itch that something like Noita or Spelunky scratches for me. It feels more arcadey, where, like, basically I'm going to pick up every item I find and last as long as I can, and I die when I die. But it's really fun. Like, all the different classes are extremely fun so far, except for the Commando, which is, like, the first one you get, and it's, like, the most generic shooter-y guy. But the one I've been really enjoying is Bandit, which is a guy, he's got a shotgun, a revolver, and he can turn invisible for a bit. And if what I like about him is if you're behind an enemy, you can crit them. And there are a couple items in the game that just like super stack your crit damage. And it almost gives me the same dopamine rush Noita gives me when you like find out how to make a wand that is going to crit on every hit. And you can do like 1,000,000 damage per second or whatever. It's kind of scratching that same itch for me. It's really fun. It's also 4-player co-op, which... And yes. I think there are mods to make it more than 4-player co-op, which is also fun. And I've been having...
I keep hearing good things about this game.
It's a really good time. The only reason I hadn't played it before is because I thought I'd kind of missed the boat, and then it was like only going to be fun multiplayer. I didn't miss the boat. I still have some friends playing it. And 2, it's not that bad as a single-player game. Like, just put some music on and, shoot hordes and hordes of enemies. And in that way, like in the single-player mode, it almost feels like a little Doom Eternally, because you're like really just tearing through these hordes of enemies, and it feels really good. My only complaint is that it's pretty often that I die in. It's a 3D game, so that's kind of novel for a roguelike. And as a result of that, occasionally I get killed, and I do not know what killed me, and that's not super fun. But usually I've had fun for like 40 minutes by then, so I'm really not complaining. I had my fun for 40 minutes, and then my fun was over. So, I like it.
Nice. So, my other game is... My other game is Stray. I don't know if you guys have heard of it.
I'm just not far
Stray.
enough.
Cyberpunk Cat. Let's go.
Yeah, I love this little game.
It's extremely good.
So, this is a game published by Annapurna, right?
Yeah, same guys that published Outer Wilds, for those keeping score.
Yeah. And you play as this cute little orange stray cat. No, it's not like a talking cat, or it's just a cat, right? And the premise of the game, without giving too much away, is that you're this stray cat. It looks like you're in an abandoned area of the world. You don't know what quite has happened. Maybe some sort of apocalyptic event or something. And you're with like a pack of other cats. And something happens, you get separated, and you fall into this giant hole, basically. And when you start exploring, you find yourself in like this weird sort of dilapidated cyberpunk-esque city, like deep underground, populated by robots. And so, without giving too much away of the story, right, you're sort of like inferring like, okay, so like maybe something happened to humanity and like this was like a refuge or something, but you play as this stray cat and you explore this cyberpunk setting, and it's really, really fun. I think, so there are aspects about this game that are better than others, right? Like, technically it's a platformer, right? But it's not like a skill-based platformer, right? You just hit X to jump up to a ledge. You don't have to like time your jump or anything.
It feels more like an evolution of a point-and-click game, really. Like,
right, yeah, that's a good description. But like,
it's an adventure game, yeah.
There are these elements of the game that are like stealth or something, or that you're running away from something. I think those elements are generally weaker than the parts that you're just exploring, right? Like, if this was just like,
I think
you're a cat and
I haven't
you
gotten that far
explore
in the game.
Yeah.
I do agree that they're weaker. I don't think they're bad though. Like I wasn't frustrated.
No,
with them.
no. Like I think the beautiful thing about this game, and I'm like almost done with it. I'm pretty sure, right? And like I've only put like 5 hours into it. It's a pretty short game, and I've been like exploring a lot, right? So like I imagine like you play games at a faster clip, Connor, you're gonna finish it within like probably 3 or 4 hours.
I wouldn't. I've been playing it with someone else, so I would not be so sure.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I love the like exploration elements of the game so much. Like if you like just doing cat things as a cat.
Oh
around,
yeah,
in the setting,
every time you see a wall, you can scratch. I gotta get in
scratching
there.
a wall, taking little naps on like cushions and stuff,
The
like
little,
rubbing
walk-
up against people's legs to show affection and stuff.
The little walk you do when you first get the little vest on.
Yeah, it's so cute, man.
It's very good.
It's and like they just totally nailed like controlling a cat and like having that feel like a cat and also look super cute.
Yeah,
and realistic. Like they just nailed controlling this cat.
Did you see the voice actor that played the cat in Stray is a cat named Lala? They posted pictures of them.
I was gonna say it was like it had to have been a cat, right?
It was a cat. Yeah.
Yeah. That's so cute. Like you have there's a meow button. There's a dedicated
It does nothing.
meow
It just makes you
button.
meow. Yeah.
Yeah, but it is interesting. Like if you meow at certain things, they respond.
Yeah.
Like if you meow at some lights, they maybe blink in a certain way, or if you meow at a camera, it like nods at you, which is really cool.
And like some of the enemies will get drawn to you.
Yes, yeah. And but yeah, I just love the exploratory elements of this game so much. Each time you go to a new sort of like hub area, it's so like because like obviously this is all like I said, it's like a cyberpunk kind of rundown setting. Like there's so many like alleyways and like nooks and crannies to explore. I feel like they just packed a lot to see in like a tiny amount of space, which is good, especially because you're a cat, right? Like so you can generally explore things that normal sized protagonists wouldn't be able to explore. Like you can crawl into little holes or like jump on top of bookshelves and find like hidden things there and stuff like that. So definitely intelligently designed from the perspective of like exploring as a cat, which I find really good. And like you said, like there are stealth elements and like running elements and stuff where you're running away from things. And while those aren't as fun as the exploring things, they don't outstay their welcome, right? Like everything in this game moves at such a fast pace. You don't have a chance to like really get tired of something before you move on to the next thing, which I appreciate, right? Like, so this is like the perfect sort of like bite-sized game, which we don't really get a lot of like bite-sized games with like this kind of production value. Cause I feel like this is a gorgeous game, right? Like, so it's really pretty to look at, like the art style and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, it's not like, I wouldn't say hyper realistic, but it's real enough that like, if I didn't know it was an indie game, I might have been surprised by that.
Right, yeah. That's kind of what I was trying to say.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've been really enjoying it, and I think I'm almost done with it. Like, I think I only have like one sort of level left. But really cute game. Obviously, if you're a fan of cats and a fan of video games, you kind of have to play this. It's like the perfect game for that sort of overlap.
Or if you're a fan of Cyberpunk.
Yeah. If you didn't like Cyberpunk 2077, this is
wide genre appeal. I like.
Yeah.
You like games? Play it.
I also
like
want
cats?
to point out that like
Play it.
this game's kind of been a masterclass in marketing as well. Like,
oh yeah, this game is everywhere. Like it went mainstream, and
Yeah,
which is like
Annapurna
obviously like if
definitely-
anything has the power to go mainstream, it's cats. Let's be real, right? Like
I just
so
wanna
like
s- like Annapurna is kind of a powerhouse publisher for me right now. They've only
they only make great games.
no, they did make 12 minutes.
Oh yeah, is that the one with Defoe and
Yeah, and that game's terrible.
Okay, yeah.
But they
you really hated that game.
At the very least,
you
they make-
hate it so much it kind of makes me want to play it just to see why you hated that much.
yeah, you should. I think it is worth like if you have Game Pass, it's worth taking a look at. But it is so bad. I don't think you'll make it through it, like knowing how bad it is.
That's funny.
But it is genuinely like 12 minutes is bad, but it is at least interesting, if that makes sense. So Annapurna is like they've not had a game release since I discovered them that didn't at least pique my interest in a big way.
Yeah.
Outer Wilds is still the best one, obviously, but my only complaint is that they can't keep their merch in stock. There's this like Outer Wilds Ventures patch that I want to buy so bad, and it's never in stock for more than like an hour.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's only been restocked like twice since I've played the game, so.
And I just want to add, right, like, so this is one of those games that was added to PlayStation Plus Extra and Premium, right? So if you have one of the 2 higher tiers, I believe, you get this game for free. So that's how I got this game. I've been playing it on PS5, and it's been loving it. Yeah,
I just paid my $30 on Steam because I thought it was worth it for the cute little kitty.
No, it's definitely worth $30 for sure. But it definitely, like, you know, getting this into the hands of a lot of people by being on PlayStation, right? Like this, and like that only fed the marketing machine even more. So this is a game that pretty much everyone has heard about. Like even my little sister, my smallest sister, who doesn't play video games at all.
Oh, this game's huge on TikTok and stuff.
Yeah, asked me about this game. So this has gone mainstream.
No, this game blew up.
Which is
most
really
people
cool.
are calling it the cat game, it seems like, but
I mean, it is, right? Like,
I bet if I
another
Googled
one,
the cat game right now, Stray is what would come up.
Yeah. Great game. Really big fan. Mike, you want to close this out?
All right, my last one is actually Killer Queen.
Oh,
I think we talked about it on the
too.
show before because ever since Starport opened,
It's weird I haven't run into you at Starport yet. Me and
I'm
were
going.
there.
Oh man,
Yeah,
I wanna go.
I'm going
I
there
wanna
tonight.
go so bad.
I think because I got a birthday to celebrate.
Whose birthday? Well, we'll
It's
talk
Mark's
about that
birthday.
after the show. Okay.
Yeah.
I might be there tonight too, though. I was there last night. I was.
Yeah.
There were some older.
Someone
dudes
sent me a
playing.
picture, and it's like 3 stories now or
Yeah,
something.
Oh yeah, it's 3 stories.
The
of
third
Starport.
floor
I guess.
is pretty
Wow.
small, but
I guess my discussion's not going to be about strictly Killer Queen. It's going to be
It's
about
the
how
arcade
Starport
experience.
reopened.
Oh, that's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The arcade experience. Like, I literally picked up Killer Queen, and I just naturally gravitated to playing Queen, I guess.
yeah.
Yeah.
I was like stomping people that were more experienced at the game than I was.
I play video games like there are a lot of really casual gamers in Starport right now. So
Yeah.
I get stuck as Queen a lot of the time because like we want to win and I tend to be the most experienced. So but I'm having like so much fun playing it. It's like it's almost more fun for me when I lose too cuz like I was playing last night and I beat these guys like 5 times in a row. And when they finally beat me, they just lost their minds. They were so excited. And I wasn't going easy on them. They just got me.
It's such a hype game. I love playing. It's so simple too.
Yeah.
I was gonna say I really feel like Killer Queen is one of the best arcade games ever made.
Oh yeah,
like it's
it's
so good.
Oh my god.
It's just like you get 5 strangers together, and it's just magical. I thought I would need to have 5 friends, but strangers are just as fun.
Yeah.
Starport's also like Starport's insanely good right now. Like I was there last weekend and I was drinking, but they hadn't it's all ages until 9:00. And so like me pretty drunk versus a 7-year-old at Killer Queen, it's a pretty fair fight, y'all. And that was like really fun.
Connor beating up 7-year-olds.
No, he beat me more times than I beat him. Like he was actually, and it was like me and 2 of my friends, and it was like this kid and his parents, and he was stomping us. It was so bad.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
Dude, kids are good at video games.
Kids are good at video
like,
games.
He had
man.
it at home. Oh, and he was having so much fun, and that just made it more fun for me. I didn't care that I was losing.
Yeah, it's like having fun is the key point of a barcade.
And
Dude,
I'm really glad that it's back.
Yeah,
I need to come back.
I miss that experience.
Dude, I missed Starport so much. That was
it's
my
so
favorite
much better
place in
now than it
Morgantown.
was
Yeah.
before. It's so much
there's
better.
So much room.
There's
Other than the
2
Killer
bars.
Queen machine.
There are 2 bars. There's free pool in the basement. Like
Yeah. Because it's where Blaze used to be.
And
Yeah.
I'm assuming business is really good.
it
yeah.
was pretty crowded last night.
Last time I was there, I waited like the first night. I was there opening night. I waited at least 30 minutes to get a beer. The first time I went to go grab
I didn't
beer.
wait 30 minutes, but I waited a while.
I mean,
for me to get a
that's
drink.
good to hear. Like, I don't want to hear a sad story of them, shutting down in like a year because no one went. I'm glad that
30 minutes for.
I'm
a
glad
beer,
that it's
I'll
back
wait.
and better than ever. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
they
understand.
They have a full food menu too, which is pretty sick.
Oh, yeah.
And it smells. I can't eat any of it because I have celiac disease, but it smells really good. Smells good enough that I get
Starport
hungry.
is good and back together, and they have 40 some beers on tap, so it's like magical.
Oh, they have a really fun thing downstairs where it's like a roulette. It's like I think it's $4 or something for a shot roulette.
Wheel, yeah.
And yeah, they just spin it and give you whatever shot it lands on, and that's super fun.
They've combined the best bits of Blaze and added the Starport aesthetic over it, and I'm not mad about that because Blaze was okay.
It's extremely fun.
Man, it sounds like they're nailing it. Just like
they did.
They came back in force.
Yeah, you gotta come. I'm out of town.
Yeah, so happy.
So you're not gonna
yeah, I won't be able to come for like the next 3 weeks.
I will say, before Extra Life, I'm going to bring a lot of the people that I'm bringing down to Starport.
Like Starport is so fun, like that I was trying to figure out a bus route to get there and home so that I would be able to drink more. And it is impossible, unfortunately, for me.
I mean, you'd have to Uber or something.
Yeah,
you'd have to
Uber
Uber.
from my house is like $60. So.
Oh Jesus!
Yeah, it's kind of insane. Well,
That's why I just stay at other people's houses.
Yeah, I'm just trying to find a couch to crash on right now.
Got Gabs.
Yep.
Gosh, I really wish I could.
My couch tonight is occupied. I have to. I have to take care of someone. I'm getting very drunk.
Our friend Mark,
Our friend of podcast, Mark.
I love Starport.
There's such barcade. Every city needs a barcade because I don't think Pittsburgh has one.
There's no way Pittsburgh doesn't have one. That'd be crazy.
I've heard people from Pittsburgh come down here to Starport.
That's nuts. So I was thinking about moving to Pittsburgh, and that would make me sad.
I just don't think they just don't have the market. I guess
maybe Dave & Buster's up here soon too.
Maybe we can. Maybe when I come to Morgantown and we check out Starport, our next episode can be like a Starport review, deep dive type thing.
Barcade deep dive.
Yeah, a barcade experience. And if you're there, Emmett, we can split an Uber and the price is a little less.
Oh, yeah.
At that point.
I literally walk to Starport because I live just up the hill.
That's hype, man. That's a great experience.
I'm so happy that I live next to Starport.
Yeah, I'm jealous.
Or close to Starport.
Yeah.
It's still like a mile and a half, but it's not that bad.
That's really not that bad.
It's like a $7 Uber if I don't want to walk up the hill.
That's a short walk in Morgantown.
Yeah. And if I don't want to walk up the hill, I can just Uber for like $8.
Nice.
It's like dirt cheap.
God, I'll probably be there tonight. You talked me into it.
God. Yeah, since the apothecary's closed at the moment.
I know. That's sad.
They'll be reopening soon.
Yeah, I know.
It's just they're moving locations.
Yeah. But I had just fallen in love with them.
Just the beer selection.
I mean, I can't drink most of it, but I just like the vibes.
Yeah, I think they changed
it is a
their
very
location.
cozy
yeah,
vibe.
It is a very cozy bar. I love it. I mean, I got to talk to them to get my name up on that board because apparently I qualify for it.
I got a high score at Starport the other night too. I am immortalized in one of the machines right now. I
want to speedrun that Mario game while completely trashed.
I forget what game it was, honestly.
Because they have Super Mario on an emulated arcade machine.
I also this is just the kind of fun atmosphere that they're promoting at Starport right now. They have I don't know if you guys have seen the magnetic Pong machines that like it's like physical Pong kind of. But
yeah.
I had locked out 2 people in a row. They didn't score a single point, and I beat them. And one of the employees came over. And I don't know if he was working. He was pretty drunk at the time.
Oh yeah, seeing the employees come out, I faced an employee playing Queen at Killer Queen. I'm like, that's neat.
Yeah, it was probably the same dude. But he came over.
Literally
and he was
just come
hey,
out and play games.
I want to play you at Pong, and I beat him too. And he said that was your one. Every time you beat me from now on, I'm going to give you $5 in tokens.
Oh, did he?
That was a once a night offer, so I haven't had a chance to cash it in yet. But I bet he will.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, and that's just that's usually what I buy in tokens. That's just free games for me.
The Starport people the employees are very passionate about Starport.
It's such a good time.
And you can tell.
He was drunk enough that he didn't remember that he wasn't wearing a Starport shirt, so I did not realize that he was an employee. I thought he was just a drunk guy making a bet with me.
It's just an employee working there.
Yeah, very.
Well,
fun.
he was off work, but they love that. They love that bar.
Yeah,
and that's probably why it came back.
And the bartenders are clearly having a good time and everything.
Oh yeah,
yeah. It's extremely fun.
Every other bar, it's the bartenders just aren't happy to be there. But Starport just brings that hey, when you get off, you can just sit there and play pinball for a couple hours.
It's also so cool because there's the upstairs has like a very loud arcadey vibe. And then you can go down to the basement, and it's not quiet, but it is kind of chill. And that's where all the pinball is. That's where the pool table is. A lot of the
that's where Killer Queen is.
Yeah, Killer Queen is down there, which is not chill.
I will complain that Mario machine is way too close to Killer Queen.
The Mario pinball?
No, the emulator.
What?
They have a SNES emulator right behind Killer Queen. Yeah, it has like 3 games, but
I haven't seen that. You got to show me that tonight.
Yeah, it's super close to Killer Queen, so if there's people in Killer Queen, you're going to get bumped into constantly.
Guys, I'm feeling so much
World
right now.
It's Super Mario World? Okay.
Super Mario World
if
on
they
an
have
arcade
Super
machine.
Mario All-Stars, I could be in their speedrun in Super Mario 3 like it's my job.
I want to see Connor drunk speedrun
Yeah,
Super Mario 3.
I could probably get drunk and get through that whole game on a quarter. Like,
yeah, I think when I saw it was like it was super free play or something like that.
Okay.
I don't remember.
A lot of the stuff was like a lot of the pinball was free, but it's not anymore.
Yeah, on launch night.
Yeah.
A lot of I know their fighting game machines haven't been converted to tokens yet.
Dude,
or at least when I was there.
I play Killer Queen free most of the time too, because like the people I'm playing against are always drunk and they just start shoving in tokens and they never stop. Like they just don't seem to understand how the pricing works.
I think it was free play when I was there.
It wasn't free play the other night, but the guys just kept like, I kept being like,
I think it was.
They didn't understand that it wouldn't just start, that they had to hit start, so they just kept putting tokens in, and they put like $4 in or something.
Oh my god!
I was like, sure, I'll play 4 games because Killer Queen, insane value by the way. It's a 10-player game and it cost $1.
Yeah, it's $1 for 10 players. So so if you have 5 people putting in $5 in tokens, that's a night of entertainment. And each game doesn't last. They're kind of short games.
It depends on how good everybody is. Because like, if you have a good queen, the games are really short, and that's kind of lame because if you kill the queen 3 times, you win.
Yeah, if you have a bad queen, the game can also be super short.
Yeah.
Because I have thrown games on the back of my queen gameplay.
I have also done that before, yeah. If you've had one too many, yeah.
Yeah, it's super easy to get like too aggressive as queen and then just like lose.
Yeah.
I think there's a Steam version of it too.
There is, I have it.
There's a Switch version.
There's a Switch version. And a crossplay, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, that's so hype. I might have to buy that for extra life.
It's not as good though. It's only 4 players per team, I think.
Oh yeah, that's not as good. Because part of the draw of Killer Queen is that like atmosphere of just being there.
Yeah, and sharing a screen.
Guys, I have so much FOMO coursing through my veins.
Oh my god!
Right now,
you're about to buy the Starport NFT.
No, I kind of just want to go there, but
yeah, you got to buy the NFTs first. We're in an exclusive club now.
Yeah, bring it full circle, I guess.
Yeah.
All right, I think that's gonna do it for us. Somehow this ended up going an hour and a half plus, which is mind-blowing to me, but
we haven't recorded in a while. We played a lot of games.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
we've been busy.
That we have. All right, you can follow us at That Podcast Game Talk on Twitter. Please like, rate, and review us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, SoundCloud, any other podcast services you use. Click the link in the description of this podcast to join our Discord and talk to us there. Thank you, Connor and Mike.
Yeah, see you guys next week.
See you next week.